Have you ever wondered how we breathe? How does our body take in oxygen and expel carbon dioxide? It's a marvel, really, and it's all thanks to a complex system in our body known as the respiratory system. This life-sustaining system is our body's natural air supplier, and it works tirelessly, day in and day out, to ensure every cell in our body gets the oxygen it needs to function. The respiratory system is a network of organs and tissues that help us breathe. It starts at the nasal cavity, a gateway for air, and continues through the pharynx, the larynx and the trachea, our windpipe. The air then travels into the bronchi, then into the smaller bronchioles, and finally reaches the lungs, where the magic of gas exchange happens. It's a fascinating journey, one that we often take for granted. Now let's understand these parts in detail and their role in this fascinating process. The process of breathing begins when we inhale air through our nose or mouth. This air, rich in oxygen, embarks on a journey, a sort of tour through our body. So let's follow along. As the air enters through the nostrils or the mouth, its first stop is the nasal cavity or oral cavity, respectively. Here, an important task is undertaken. The nasal cavity, lined with tiny hairs and mucus, acts as a natural air filter, trapping dust particles and other impurities. It also warms and humidifies the air, preparing it for the delicate tissues further down the line. Next, the air descends into the pharynx, a funnel-shaped tube that serves as a passageway for both food and air. Here, a little flap called the epiglottis plays a crucial role. It swings down and covers the windpipe when we swallow, ensuring that food goes down the esophagus and not the windpipe. The air then moves down the larynx, or what we commonly call the voice box. This is where our vocal cords reside, vibrating to produce our unique voices. Once past the larynx, the air enters the trachea or windpipe. This is a sturdy tube-like structure that conducts the air towards the lungs. The trachea is lined with cilia and mucus, which continue the job of filtering, trapping any remaining dust or impurities. The trachea then branches into two tubes called bronchi, each leading to one of the lungs. These bronchi further split into a multitude of smaller tubes. The bronchioles, like branches of a tree reaching into every corner of the lungs. The bronchioles continue the task of conducting and further filtering the air. Finally, the air reaches the tiny air sacs in the lungs, called alveoli. It's here that the air, now clean and warm, is ready for the grand exchange, oxygen for carbon dioxide. But that's another story. The air has now reached the lungs, but the process doesn't end here. Inside our lungs, the real magic happens. Picture a vast forest of tiny trees. Each tree is a bronchiole, ending in a cluster of microscopic air sacs known as alveoli. This is where the air we breathe meets our bloodstream, and a critical exchange takes place. Oxygen from the inhaled air diffuses across the thin, delicate walls of these alveoli, much like water seeping through a porous surface. From there, it slips into a network of minuscule blood vessels, or capillaries, and is whisked away into the bloodstream. This oxygen is then transported to every cell in our body, providing the vital fuel for life's processes. Meanwhile, carbon dioxide, a waste product of metabolism, takes the opposite route. It diffuses from the blood into the alveoli, hitching a ride on the next breath to be exhaled out of the body. And that's how our bodies breathe in life and breathe out waste. Ever wondered what makes us inhale and exhale? It's all down to the diaphragm and the chest cavity. The diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle sitting right below the lungs. When we breathe in or inhale, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward. This increases the space in our chest cavity, creating somewhat of a vacuum. And what fills this vacuum? You guessed it, air. This air rushes into our lungs, giving us the oxygen we need to survive. But what about when we breathe out or exhale? The diaphragm and the muscles around our chest cavity relax. This reduces the space inside our chest cavity, increasing the pressure. The air in our lungs is then forced out, expelling carbon dioxide, a waste product of our body's metabolism. So every breath we take is a testament to the remarkable efficiency of our respiratory system. So, to wrap up the journey of a breath, we've explored the marvels of the respiratory system, the nasal and chest cavities, and the pivotal role of the diaphragm. We've followed the air's journey from inhalation to exhalation, and the gas exchange within our lungs. We've also delved into the rhythm of our breathing rate. All these elements harmoniously work together to keep us alive, and that's how we breathe, every second, every minute, every day. It's an incredible process, isn't it?